Hey guys, Nichols here. Today we're gonna take a look at the high-grade GYAN Gyan Strom, piloted by best girl Agnes Giebenrath from Gundam SEED Freedom. Now you're probably wondering, was I being serious or sarcastic with what I just said? Well, that's up to you to decide. The kit was released in April 2024 in retail for 2,900 yen. Upon building this kit, I initially wasn't too impressed because this one uses simpler tech compared to the other SEED Freedom kits. But after actually posing and playing around with it, yeah, I fell in love with this kit. The same way a lot of you probably fell in love with Agnes. Aww. This kit comes with a total of 15 runners, including a tiny set of polycaps. Now that's something you don't see a lot of these days. This kit comes with two multicolor plates, the A plate and the C plate. And yes, something special about this kit is that it does not have a B plate, they skipped the B here. The A plate, which the Gyan shares with the Galgugmena's kit for the gun and some backpack parts, has gray parts, medium blue parts, and grayish light blue parts. Now the C plate features black parts, light blue parts, off-white parts, and darker blue parts. Next we have the two D plates, D1 and D2. Both of these runners come in an off-white color, and D1 actually has a few undergated parts, so that's interesting. Now let's take a look at E1 and E2, which are basically parts for the Gyan's frame and joints. Next, let's look at the F plates, F1 and F2. F1 comes in a nice sky blue color, while F2 has the red parts. Next, we have two G plates. G1 features the beam effect parts, or rather like the more specialized beam effect parts for the Gyan, and G2 features a frosty gold for the Gyan's weapons. Next up, we have the XA1 and the XA2 parts. These parts come in a grayish sky blue, the same grayish sky blue color we saw in the A plate. Now these are obviously for the backpack, as you can see, and we also have the tiny XB runner, which features the thrusters of the backpack. I believe these backpack runners will be used in other kits in the future. We also have a pair of beam sabers, but we're only going to use one of them. And the tiny set of polycaps. Now we're only going to use two of these polycaps. And lastly, and definitely the least, this large sheet of foil stickers. Well, I think it's pretty large. Looking at the manual, it provides information on both the Gyan Strom and its pilot Agnes Giebenrath. It also provides a synopsis of the Gundam SEED Freedom movie, so that's cool. The manual also features pictures of poses that you can use as reference if you want to, and a color guide. The first 2 pages of the instructions are colored and the rest are not colored. Overall, I think these instructions are good. The kit generally comes in a satin plastic look, but with a semi-gloss look on the dark blue detail parts and the medium blue parts of the missile launchers. The only sticker I've used so far is the mono eye. As you can see, most of these stickers are meant to be used for the nearly colorless backpack, including the missiles. We also have some light blue stickers for the ears and the collar, a metallic blue sticker for the rifle scope, gray stickers that go over the lower section of the dark blue leg details, and some red stickers for some details on the shield. I think most of these stickers are acceptable, but those red parts on the wings could have easily been separate parts, as this kit already has a red runner to begin with. Come on, Bandai. I also want to note that there are additionally some small vents that would supposedly be colored gold or yellow. There are no stickers for these, so you're gonna need some paint for full color accuracy. As for seam lines, most of them are hidden or stylized as panel lines, which is all good. The only real visible seam lines on this kit are the ones on the front leg corners and the wing corners. But since these seam lines are on corners, they're not super noticeable. I still recommend cementing them if you plan to paint this kit. Now for size comparison, here is the Gyan with her boyfriend, the Shiva, and an older SEED kit, the Saiyu Deep Arms. And here it is next to some Gundam types. We have the Sword Impulse Gundam, and the Infinite Justice. And next to a similar design, we have the Michaelis. Overall, the Gyan is a pretty tall kit, and the pinhead makes it even more of that. And comparing the Gyan's box to other SEED Freedom boxes, yeah, let's say Agnes has a big box. Now for articulation and gimmicks, the helmet piece comes off easily to reveal the mono eye mechanism, which allows the mono eye to rotate via a ball joint. It's pretty stiff, so use a fingernail with a bit of force using a toothpick might be a little difficult. And yes, the pinhead helmet does come off a bit easily. I believe they made it that way to make it easier for you to move the mono eye around. I mean, it still stays on there. It still stays on the head. It doesn't like pop off all the time. It's just easy to remove. Now, the neck is on 2 joints, a ball at the top and a hinge at the bottom. So the head can rotate side to side and do the chicken movement. The butterfly joints surprisingly do not use the same modern SEED action system used by the other SEED Freedom kits. Instead, this kit uses a more traditional ball joint system. One ball joint from the arm goes into another ball joint inside the chest, allowing for double jointed movement. To further enhance this, the shoulder armor can slide outwards, so that the shoulders can go forward even more. Pretty unique if you ask me. The shoulder armor can also move up, allowing the arms to spread out pretty far. The arm can also rotate under the shoulder. The elbows are double jointed, and the wrists are on traditional ball joints. The ab crunch joint goes forward and sideways. And man, that is a good sideway bend. The waist is on a ball joint that allows the entire torso to move forward, backward, and sideways, and rotate until the abdomen gets hit by the crotch armor. The front skirts come in one piece, but you can split them into 2 as usual. The side skirts are on ball joints, so they will move forward, backward, and out to the side a bit. The back skirt does not move, however. The legs will move forward pretty far, not really backward due to the big back skirt, and spread far enough until it hits the side skirts. Not bad. Though, unlike the high-grade Immortal Justice that has a drop-down joint for its legs, the Gyan does not have a special hip joint. Now, the upper thigh can rotate on a swivel, the knees are double jointed with the lower joint being pretty stiff, the foot's front section can move upward and downward on a hinge, and we do have double jointed ankle pivot, with a hinge at the top and the ball joint at the bottom, also allowing for a bit of rotation. There's also an inner ankle joint that helps with the foot's forward and backward movement, allowing the foot to move this far out. That's cool. Now for the Bolelo backpack, the wings will rotate, move forward and backwards on hinges, and spread out quite far on its outer section. You can even make a V shape. The missile launchers are fixed and do not move on their own. Overall, the articulation is really good for a pretty beefy mobile suit. While this kit does not feature all the modern joints that some of the other new HGCEs have, it still allows for good posability even with more traditional engineering. Going back to the backpack, it attaches onto the mobile suit through a ball-shaped polycap. I assume Bandai went for this so that the Gyan can be compatible with the wizard packs from the older HGCE kits, including the Gunner Zaku Warrior, the Blaze Zaku Phantom, and the Kerberos Baku Hound. And additionally, the Gelgoog Menace. I just don't have any of those with me right now. But you can try other packs that have a single 3mm connector, or an adapter. For example, here's an old 1-144 Sword Striker pack, yes this is from the really old kit, and the Exceed Galaxy Build Strikes booster. Now for the accessories, aka my favorite part of the kit. Starting with the basics, the Gyan comes with almost the same enhanced beam rifle used by the Gelgoog Menace. The only difference is the barrel length, with the Gelgoogs being longer. It has a second handle that allows for two-handed precision shooting. You can also store this rifle on the right side skirt through an attachment piece. Could have just been a direct attachment, but it's alright, I guess. Next, let's open up her chest for a bit and whoa! Why are they hollow? Well, that's because you insert the rotary beam machine guns into those holes. Since this is a high grade, I can forgive these being separate parts. Now let's look at the Falx G7 Beam Axe, a really elegant halberd looking weapon, which I believe is also used by the Zaku Phantom. The axe's middle piece is elevated on one side and hollow on the other side. It stays on the hand well enough, just the right amount of grip. It is light enough for the Gyan to use with just one hand, but you can also make the Gyan hold it with two hands. This weapon can also be parts formed into a retracted version. Just take out the white beam emitters and the lower tip then attach them onto this retracted version of the weapon's body. The retracted axe can be stored on the back skirt through a tab. Also, the manual doesn't tell you this, but the back skirt can also be used to store the beam rifle, as it has the same connection shape as the axe. I just don't recommend doing this because the rifle's connection to the back skirt doesn't feel solid enough. Next is the Ferro-Sakar. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I tried, okay. Ferro-Sakar beam saber, which is essentially the SEED version of the original Gyan's rapier-looking beam saber. Great for stabby poses. Comes with a pink beam, but you can use yellow beams from other kits like the HGCE Gerbera Tetra to make it look more like the OG. The saber handle can be stored on the left skirt when not in use. Next up, we got a goof-style whip that's connected directly to a dedicated hand part. To use it, just remove the retracted version of the whip from the Gyan's forearm, then plug in the whip-connected hand. And now, last but not the least, the best weapon here, the self-propelled shield. You can mount it on either of the two forearms, or use the handle to hold the shield. However, you can't use both the attachment and the handle at the same time. The handle does have articulation, and the shield itself is on a polycap ball joint so it can wiggle and rotate. And yes, this shield and the backpack are the only two instances of polycaps used in this kit. The shield also has this unused hole below the handle. The manual doesn't really say what it's for, but the handle's peg does fit into it. Maybe you can try using the hole for customization. And of course, what makes the shield special is that it can function as a melee beam weapon. Just put on these two effect parts to form a beam circle. To use the shield in this form, the Gyan has to hold the shield's handle. And I must say, the Gyan's holding it pretty well, for now at least. And man, that looks so good. I'm kinda glad they made the shield like a beam saw instead of the classic missile launcher shield we saw with the original Gyan. Kinda weird to have explosives stored in the shield, to be honest. Now for the Gyan's normal hands, it comes with the standard holding things hands, but it also comes with an angled right hand that can be used for both the beam saber and the beam axe. This alternate right hand is great for pointier stabbing and slashing poses. And yes, this is only for the right arm, we do not get a left version of this hand. I also want to mention that the connection tabs of the upper caps of these hands are longer than usual, which actually makes these hands holding ability more solid and effective than usual high-grade hands. And of course, the kit comes with a crotch hole to connect the stands. Overall, I love this kit. I didn't like it initially because it doesn't have the modern butterfly joints used by the other HGCE kits, and it doesn't have special hip joints. But after playing around with the completed kit, wow, this kit performs so well despite using simpler engineering in some parts. And that sideway abdomen movement is so good. Also, I love what you can do with its accessories, so many possibilities. As for plastic quality, I think I can say it's better than the Immortal Justice and the Shiva, and almost as good as that of G-Witch kits. It's just not as buttery as a G-Witch kit, but it looks really good, and most of the nubs are well hidden enough. Though there were some sections where the nubs do show, but could have been hidden easily. Kinda weird. The stickers definitely are a lot, but honestly, I think most of them are kinda justified. Also, the Gyan already looks pretty good without them. Just paint the kit if you want full color accuracy. The color separation on the Gyan's body is above average, even for a modern high grade. And the sticker problems are mostly just on the backpack's trims, though I still think those red sections should have been individual parts. Just like most modern high grades, this is a stable and solid kit. Will it get loose over time? Well, that's possible, but I think this would last a good while. And if ever the joints get loose, you can always just use Elmer's glue. That method always works for me. I recommend this kit to 4 types of people. 1. Gyan fans. People who like the Gyan in general. If you're like Gyanko, yeah, go get this kit. 2. People who love close combat posing. These accessories and this good articulation, wow, close combat posists are gonna have a blast for this kit, with all that slashing and stabbing. 3. General Gundam SEED fans, cause why not, right? You know, especially if you wanna complete all the SEED kits, go ahead. And number 4, Agnes simps. Yes, they do exist. Honestly, I think Agnes is a fun character. She's a bitch, but at least she's funny about it. Alternatively, you can get the P Bandai Hilda's Gyan with the Atmospheric Bolelo pack, if you have the means to do so. And that's it for the review. I hope I helped you decide whether to get this kit. With all that said, I hope you have a nice day.